I'm Diego Cordovez.
Adam Schoenfeld.
Welcome to The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. And we had Jimmy Fricke, aka Gobbo Boy, here last week with some very interesting and frank discussion.
The kid's dynamic.
He is dynamic and very thoughtful and very candid. So he's earned the coveted second part. And if you missed part one, look for it on Card Player TV.
IMO. So, Jimmy, after that, how did your life change? Are you playing much higher? What's your average game, and what are you doing now on a typical day?
Well, I had a bunch of money after that. I sold off lots of pieces myself. Actually, that tournament was the tournament I had the least percentage of myself in any tournament I've ever played.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, great, great timing for me. But I still had a decent percentage of myself. About a third, actually, 34%. So, it's not like I was super rich or anything, but I was, I was very ambitious when it came to taking shots. And I would, try to, play against really good players and gamble it up, basically. And I did that for a while, but it was mostly unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. Then I went on a big tournament downswing online. I lost 6 figures playing tournaments over the course of a year. And, I do feel like, tournaments were my game, and I did feel like I was plus EV, but at the same time, after a big score like that, your head gets a little bit messed up.
Totally.
I feel like directly after you win, if I went and played a tournament the next day, I would have played great.
Right.
But 3 weeks later, I was going to play terrible because I'm no longer motivated.
And it's changed also how other people perceive you and what they know about you.
Definitely.
And there's all sorts of factors.
Since then, I don't bluff anymore. There's no point.
Right.
There's absolutely no point. Like you said, the television broadcast was a big deal. I didn't expect it to be a huge deal. But, it played on reruns for a long time, and because Gus had won, it got a lot of media coverage.
Mm-hmm. That's who you want as your opponent. You want a big name
for
opponent.
sure.
A lot of people talk about taking shots, and undisputably, you have to take shots to find out and also to learn. Do you regret taking those shots at all? Were they helpful just from an educational standpoint, or was it a mistake?
I definitely learned a lot how to play better poker, and I definitely made a lot of connections, which I think is the best thing for me in the end about the tournament, is that it just made a lot of connections for me. I met a lot of really good players. I know Paul Wasika now, and, I played with him and busted him in that tournament. I met a lot of other people who I can say hey with, and especially the media. I feel like I've really made a lot of friends in the media, which is really cool. Not only do I enjoy hanging out with a lot of them, but at the same time, it helps a lot for getting interviews and stuff like that. And if I have a few friends who are going deep in tournaments, I can direct them to the media, maybe get them, some more attention too, which is always good.
I read a quote attributed to you, and if it's accurate, it was one that I really respected and thought was interesting and rare, in which you said that you didn't really know if you were plus EV or minus EV. You just didn't have enough data. One of the biggest errors that people make, of course, is just making assumptions where the sample size is just too small.
Yeah.
Even online, when you have thousands of hands or even tens of thousands of hands, there's still such a bigger variance and standard deviation than people think. And people say, well, I can beat these limits, or I shouldn't play these, and they don't know. And you said it's too early to really tell how much of an edge I have, or if I have an edge, depending on the games. Is that accurate? And if so, do you have enough information now, or what have you gathered now?
It's still true, for sure. I play live mostly now. I don't play online nearly as much anymore. I think tournaments are just so tough, and cash games especially. I'm just not a grinder. I can't play, 10 tables of 1-2 no limit or whatever. You can make a lot of money doing that.
Right.
You can, with rakeback, you can make $100 an hour or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just not me. I can't do that. So if I'm going to play big, I'm going to play big, and I just don't have the stomach for swings like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So when I play mostly live, and you're not going to get in that many hands,
Right.
But you're going to have, if you practice good game selection, you can still make a lot of money playing. But I'm still not going to know exactly what my win rate's going to be. And, if you have a low win rate, then it's possible you're actually a negative EV player. But in general, yeah, people make a lot of assumptions about, how big of a winner they are going to be in some game. And that's the thing. In poker, it's so easy to delude yourself in situations like that.
A couple of days of big wins or big losses can skew the results so much.
Why do you think that, in the higher stakes, there are such big fish? I just got done listening to an interview of some, big fish playing some big game. The guy thinks
He had gills.
We're not
Yeah.
at least we're not named by name.
Right.
Right.
Well, not yet.
I mean, he thinks he's a winner in the game, and it's proven that he's not. Now, we don't know he's not, because hypothetically he could just be running worse than anyone else in the history of the world.
Right.
But
Someone has to.
But I mean, why would you play poker if you just know you're not going to win? They have to think they're going to get better, and they have to think they're going to end up being a winner in the end. Why would they do it? I mean, Guy in the has lost what 20 million playing online. He has to know that he's a huge dog in the games. Why does he keep playing? Because he thinks he's going to get good enough to win eventually.
Well, there's another thing, which is at a certain level of financial stability, you can play for fun, and just like people play slot machines, you know you're not going to win. You don't care.
I mean, there are a lot of people who think they can beat slot machines.
Right. Those people are stupid. but the person that you named is not stupid.
Yeah.
So there could be other factors, but in general, you're right.
Yeah.
One thing that I like is that so many young players have emerged who have become no-limit specialists, and there's a thriving no-limit world out there, although now people are realizing that eventually maintaining that really strong no-limit community is tough. And you've had a lot of success at a variety of games, not just PLO, which then people say, I'm not a no-limit specialist, I play PLO also. But I mean, in Omaha 8, in mixed games, in limit games, you've also had success and cashed in the World Series and other tournaments. So have you systematically tried to expand your game knowledge, or is it just that your skills are tournament oriented and regardless of the game, or
Well, I'm a believer that if you're skilled in a lot of forms of poker, playing that game will help you become a better poker player in something else. Like if you study the game from a theoretical standpoint, which is something I feel like I do pretty well, I just, that was always my strongest point. I could always theorize about the game. If you're a good no-limit player, but you don't know how to bluff very well, play PLO. PLO will help you learn how to bluff better in no-limit. And things like that help a lot. If you're a good PLO player, it's going to help you a lot in your Omaha 8 or better hand reading, abilities. And it goes further like that. Stud is just so different from Hold'em. But if you know how to play Omaha 8 or better, it'll help you with Stud 8 or better, and that'll help you with Stud. So it keeps going like this. And I've done pretty well in some World Series tournaments, and I cashed the World Series horse tournament, which I was very happy to do. I was just so ecstatic after I cashed that tournament.
The big horse?
No, the World Series Europe, they had a 5.
Oh, right.
It was a 2,500 pound tournament. I just min cashed, and I was so happy to do it because there were more bracelets in that field than people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was just like, wow. And I cashed. I luck boxed my way into cashing this tournament.
Another luck box.
And after I cashed that tournament, I started playing a lot. I started playing online mixed games, and when I went places, this World Series, after I final tabled the Omaha 8 or better tournament, played a lot of Omaha. I played, but my favorite game is PLO. I mean, it is very similar to No Limit Hold'em in a lot of ways. It's just like No Limit Hold'em on steroids. If you take everything about No Limit Hold'em and makes it No Limit Hold'em rather than Limit Hold'em and made it 5 times more, that's PLO.
It also gives the illusion of action and the reality of action, and it also has more short-term luck, which is going to keep poorer players interested and thinking they're good players.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of advantages with regard to no limit in terms of sustainability, which is so important.
I mean, in many cases, the no limit hold'em games have dried up a little bit, but the
And
PLO,
it's inevitable. It's historic that they
PLO
do.
people know less. So it's easier to be bad, and it's easier to not know you're bad.
And even when they know more, the games can still thrive,
Right.
just because
Yeah.
in the short run there's a lot of action and
People win a
excitement.
lot more big pots in PLO, when they're bad players than they will in No Limit Hold'em
And then
if
they
they're bad
remember
players.
that big pot.
I mean, if you're playing against an expert in No Limit Hold'em, if you're like 1,000 big blinds deep or something, which a lot of people are in these really big games, you're not going to get in the money good if you're playing poorly. Like you're not going to get to 1,000 big blinds in each when you have the guy absolutely crushed, unless it's like quads over quads or something stupid like that. In PL, it's going to happen because it's going to be straddle, repot, repot. Call with like trash double suited, get it in with 2 pair against aces, and then not flush draw, and that happens a lot.
And in PLO, you just don't get it in 85-15 like you do in No Limit Hold'em.
Someone can have a gut shot and a pair, and they'll be like 20% against your like whatever.
And that's their worst case scenario. when you talk about improving your game and one of your strengths being theorizing, and that's theorizing in your head, or reading, or talking, or all of those things, or
yeah, pretty much a combination of
accomplish
all
that?
of it, really. You know, I'm a big poster on the 2+2 forums, which I've said many, many times. It helps a lot, and a lot of those people are, you know, most people who post on the 2+2 tournament forums are very smart people. If not in poker, but in life, they're extremely intelligent. We had a few people come on who were very, very poor poker players. You know, they were admittedly fish, but they were like winning, or they were rich businessmen who aren't going to make it in the business world unless they're very smart people, and they immediately get better.
They can at least make you think,
right?
Which is the most important
you know,
thing.
2+2, or you know, theory in general can't teach you experience, because you have to experience. Like
definition.
Yes.
It's a tautology.
if you play poker enough, it doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter what theory you know, you're gonna learn how to beat the game that you're playing eventually. You know, there are a lot of tournament grinders out there who play live tournaments mostly, who have learned how to beat tournaments because they've just learned how to not go broke.
And you learn how to copy. I mean, even if you don't think about it, you just watch what's working and adopt it.
Definitely. And so they've learned, you know, they've had a couple good scores. Those are the people who, over a big sample size, we may realize that they're not winning players, but they've certainly learned how to, I don't know, not go completely broke yet,
How to survive.
essentially. Yeah.
Speaking of message boards, your mother is a renowned message board poster. Yeah, how do you feel about that?
There was a point where she was posting so much, I actually thought she was going to get more posts than me on 2+2, which was very, very disturbing.
What's her angle on this?
Gobbomom. She's Jimmy's mom, and she likes to post.
Yeah, pretty much. It started during Australia, because there were like a few really big sweat threads, which is what we do when someone that we know in the community makes a big final table or something. So she started posting there. All my friends started talking to her, and it was pretty cool. And then recently she just started posting a lot of the other places online, like politics forums and stuff like that. And she's her own person now. She's not just Gobba Boy's mom.
I didn't mean to imply that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, well, at some point she was.
Right.
Now she's branched out into all fields.
Yeah.
But I see her posts on 2+2 quite a bit, and
That's
I find
beautiful.
it, you know, it is amusing because you're a grown man and your mother's posting in the same forums you do. But yeah, it's cool.
That's refreshing. That's very cool.
It actually really helped our relationship a lot, especially now that I'm living out here.
Right.
You know, I lived at home for a long time, so you know, when it was kind of weird because like I couldn't really say everything I wanted to say because I knew it was going to be read by my mom. Actually, at a certain point, she would actually search for all of my posts.
Right.
So it was like, I'm not getting anything by her.
If you get into some flame war, you say something inappropriate, you're going to hear about it from your mom.
Exactly.
See,
Right.
if everybody's mom was reviewing your posts, it'd be a much
The
better
world would be a better place, right?
That's awesome.
And if everyone's mom was reviewing the chat online, it would be a much better
I
world.
find myself writing better posts because I know Jimmy's mom is reading them.
Right, I was going to say.
Keeps you in line.
Yeah.
No, but that's a beautiful thing also in the sense that even with the growing acceptance of poker and much more knowledge about the poker world than there was when we started playing, there's still a disconnect in the sense that our parents have grown up not understanding the world of professional poker, professional gambling. So to be in touch through the forums and to kind of gain more of an appreciation, understanding of your life, it's fantastic.
It's great.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think everyone would
definitely.
like to do that.
You know, she hasn't picked up how to be like a great winning player or anything because she doesn't really care about that stuff.
But she knows
has,
what the milieu is, what the world.
yeah,
of
she
poker
she
is
knows I'm not going to, you know, like do something stupid and, you know, blow all my money or something. She knows what I'm doing. She knows that I'm doing the right things by all counts. So it is great. It's really helped our relationship a lot, and she's like pretty proud of me for doing this, which is what I really wanted.
As she should be.
Yeah, of course. Jimmy, it's been a pleasure having you on. Very interesting, and given your approach, no doubt you'll have continued success. We'll be watching, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks a bunch for having me.
Thanks for joining us on The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. Look for us on Card Player TV, write to us at The Scoop at cardplayer.com.
Two bracelets. Awesome.
Well, you know, these aren't easy to win. I remember this one like it was yesterday. My opponent had me down to my left. Sorry. Anyway, it's down to my last few chips. So I had to call.
We play at FullTailPoker.com.